Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. This afternoon's video is going to be the Parramatta Eels Team of the Decade from the 2010 NRL season to the 2020 NRL season. So from 2010 to 2020, the Parramatta Eels Team of the Decade. But before I get into this afternoon's video, I just want to say that if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do. We're currently at 1,037 subscribers. The channel is doing very well, so thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. And also, I'm not trying to be a clickbaiter or anything, but if you want to support the channel via a donation, if you want to donate to the channel, there is a link in the description below via PayPal. Feel free to do so. I don't really care if you do, but if you do, it's much appreciated. Anyway, let's get into this afternoon's video. The Parramatta Eels Team of the Decade from 2010 to 2020. Righto, we'll go through the 1 to 17. I'll tell you who the coach of the decade is for the Parramatta Eels, in my own personal opinion, and we'll go through the team. So, fullback, Jarryd Hayne. On the wings, Semi Radradra and Luke Burt. In the centres, Michael Jennings and Brad Takarangi. In the halves, Dylan Brown and Mitchell Moses. The front row, Tim Manor and Tephwy Moy. The hooker, Nathan Peets. The back row of Nathan Hoimash and Manu Ma'u. The lock, Nathan Brown. And on the interchange bench, Clint Goverson, Junior Paulov, Tephwy Moro, and Kenny Edwards. And the coach of the decade for the Parramatta Eels is the current coach of Parramatta, Brad Arthur. Now, I think I've done pretty well with this Parramatta Eels team of the decade. It's a pretty good team. Now, to be fair, from 2010 to 2020, Parramatta didn't have a lot of success. They only made the finals twice in the last 10 years. Oh no, 3 times actually. They made the finals in 2017, in 2019, and in 2020. They were pretty ordinary from 2010 all the way up to 2014. 2014, they just missed out in the finals, and then 2015 was another bad year, and then 2016 looked promising for Parramatta, and then they got caught with the salary cap. But you know, they've only won 2 finals games, I think. Hang on, no. I'm wrong, actually. They've only won 1 finals game since 2009. That is pretty disappointing because when they made the finals in 2017, they went out in straight sets. 2018, they smashed Brisbane. And then this year, they went out in straight sets again. But let's go through the team. So, fullback, I've got Jarryd Hayne. I think that's a pretty easy one. He is probably one of the best fullbacks to ever play for the club. He won a Dally M in the 2014 season. He won State of Origin with him. I know a lot of people will say Clint Goverson, but I think Jarryd Hayne still has the edge on Clint Goverson for the Parramatta Eels fullback of the decade. So I think Jarryd Hayne, you look at his career and what he's done with Parramatta, I think he deserves to be the fullback in the team of the decade. The wingers, Semi Radradra and Luke Burt. Now, Semi Radradra is a no-brainer. When he was at Parramatta, he was absolutely fantastic. He had an unbelievable career at Parramatta. Unfortunately, he went to that ridiculous sport, rugby union, which I think is a really boring and miserable sport. I feel like falling asleep watching rugby union. But Semi Radradra's career at Parramatta was absolutely fantastic, and he was a no-brainer for this team. The other winger was Luke Burt. Now, Luke Burt was at the back end of his career towards 2010, 2011. I think he retired in 2012, Luke Burt. I'm not too sure about that. I think it was 2012 when he retired. The same year as Nathan Hoimash, I think. But Luke Burt had a good career, and I think he deserves to be on the other wing. The centres, Michael Jennings and Brad Takarangi. I think Michael Jennings joined Parramatta in 2016. He had a good run at Parramatta. He's obviously not allowed to play now due to the ongoing drug incident that has occurred with Michael Jennings. But his time at Parramatta was very good, and he was one of the strike players for them in the last couple of years. And he's always been a consistent player, Michael Jennings, so he deserves to be on this list. The other centre is Brad Takarangi, or Brad Takarangi. I call him Takarangi because I think that's the best way to pronounce it. It's hard to pronounce Brad Takarangi's last name, but he was really good for Parramatta. He was there for a little while at Parramatta. He's now off to the Super League, I think. I've got no idea what Takarangi's doing now, but his stint at Parramatta was quite good. He was playing centre there for quite some time, and he was very consistent. When Parramatta were going bad, Brad Takarangi was probably one of the best most weeks. So I think Brad Takarangi deserves to be on this team. The halves, Dylan Brown and Mitchell Moses. Now, with all due respect to the other halves that Parramatta have had from 2010 to 2020, they didn't have much. They were pretty poor in that position. I think they had Daniel Mortimer, they had Jeff Robson, they had Chris Sandow, Luke Kelly. They didn't have a lot of quality in the halves, but having a look at the last 10 years of the Parramatta halves they've had, I think Brown and Moses are probably the best that they've had in the last 10 years, so I'm going to put them in the list, but you could argue a couple other guys like Jeff Robson, but I think Brown and Moses probably deserve to be here. I think they're just a little bit better than the other guys that have been there the last 10 years or so. Now, the front row, Tim Mannah and Tephwy Moimoi. Now, Tim Mannah is a Parramatta club legend, one club player, I believe. Put his heart and soul in Parramatta, former captain of Parramatta, and, you know, he was pretty poor at the back end of his career, but he's a club legend and he's a consistent forward. And a lot of people used to make memes about Tim Mannah saying, oh, he's garbage, he's crap, but, you know, he always went out there and had a go, and he always tried to inspire his teammates. So I think Tim Mannah deserves to be in this team of the decade. The other front row is Tephwy Moimoi. Now, he was at the back end of his career to make this team of the decade, but again, a bit like Tim Mannah, a very consistent forward, always put his heart and soul in the Parramatta jersey, and I think he's a club legend as well. Tephwy Moimoi, I think he deserves to be on this list. The hooker is Nathan Peats. A lot of people saying Reid Marnie, but honestly, I call bull crap on that. Reid Marnie's only been there for 2 years now, and I think Nathan Peats, when he was at Parramatta, he was fantastic. Now, at the 2016-2015 season, Nathan Peats was playing really well for Parramatta, and he got let go to go to the Gold Coast because of the Surrey Cup incident in 2016. So if it wasn't for that, he'd probably still be at Parramatta to this day. So, you know, I thought he was very good for Parramatta when he was there, Nathan Peats. I thought he played quite well. He was getting closer and closer to the state of origin form. He was always on the edge of this. He was always on the edge for New South Wales. I mean, obviously they had Robbie Farah and Michael Ennis there, but Nathan Peats was probably the one behind them. So I thought he was good at Parramatta, and I think he deserves to be on this list. The back row, Nathan Hoimash and Manu Ma'u. Now, Nathan Hoimash, one of the great Parramatta players, probably one of the best back rowers to ever play for the Eels. And Hoimash was very consistent. A lot of people take the piss out of him, especially Brian Fletcher and all that on the Matty John show. But, you know, if you take Nathan Hoimash seriously for a minute, go and watch his career. And he was a fantastic player, Hoimash. So he was a no-brainer for this list. He was one of the first picked. The other back row was Manu Ma'u. Now, Manu Ma'u, according to a couple of players, is the scariest back row to go up against him. I remember Jonathan Thurston saying that Manu Ma'u was the scariest player he had to tackle because apparently he looked frightening. But Manu Ma'u's stint at Parramatta was quite strong. He was there for a very long time. He was always starting on the back row for Parramatta on the right side. And I thought he did a really good job when he was there, Manu Ma'u. So he deserves to be on this list as well. The lock is Nathan Brown. I think we all can agree with this. I think Nathan Brown's one of those mad players who just go out and they're just mad, you know, they're just nuts. So I think Nathan Brown, he's been really good at Parramatta and he's still there to this day. And he's a very solid player, Nathan Brown. So I think he deserves to be on this team as well. And the bench, now Clint Goverson makes the bench. Now, normally he would be a starting fullback or something, but Clint Goverson, for mine, has to be in this team somewhere. So I decided to put King Guffo on the bench, so he makes the bench. The other two, Junior Paulov and Tephwy Moro. Now, Junior Paulov has always been a good player for Parramatta. Obviously, last year was a good year for him. Probably the best year of his NRL career, and he's been good for Parramatta ever since he's played for the club. So I think he also needs to be in this team somewhere. The other forward I got is Tephwy Moro. Now, Tephwy Moro could have been anything. He could have been special, but having a look at the bench for Parramatta for my team of the decade, there wasn't many options for the bench. So I think Tephwy Moro was quite solid for the Eels, and obviously doesn't play rugby league anymore. But I think Tephwy Moro is a guy that I think needs to be in this team of the decade. He did a pretty good job for Parramatta when he was there. And the other one is Kenny Edwards. Now, Kenny Edwards was a decent player for Parramatta. Wasn't anything fantastic, wasn't anything special, but he did a job. I think he's playing over in the Super League at the moment for the Huddersfield Giants. But Kenny Edwards' run at Parramatta was quite solid. Obviously, he had his off-field dramas. Kenny Edwards did, but he always did a job for Parramatta, and I think he deserves to be on this list. And the coach, I got Brad Arthur. I think it's a no-brainer. You know, they had Stephen Kearney for a while there, and he was terrible. And then they had who did they have then? I think Daniel Anderson was there. He wasn't too bad, but Brad Arthur's been there since 2014, and he's pretty much saved the club. You know, he took over the Parramatta in 2014. They just missed the finals that year. I think they finished 9th or 10th that year. Then they lost Jared Hayne for 2015, which obviously hurt them. And then 2016, Parramatta looked really good. They were going to make the finals that year, but then the salary cap thing happened. They lost 12 competition points, which kind of set them back a little bit. And in 2017, he got Parramatta to the top 4, went out in straight sets, which was disappointing. And 2018, that was terrible. They got the wooden spoon. 2019, they finished in 5th, make it to the second week of the finals. And then this year, they finished 3rd and they go out in straight sets. But Brad Arthur's stint at Parramatta has been quite good, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes in 2021, if he can get them to the next level. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up my Parramatta Eels team of the decade. Let me know your Parramatta Eels team of the decade in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing what you guys have got in the comment section below for Parramatta. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you guys go ahead, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night for another Team of the Decade video. All right, guys, I'll see you guys then.